Fight fans, this is Chris Guzman with your weekly Thursday night injection of boxing talk, updates, and all out arguments. This is your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour brought to you by George Rogie Insurance. It is Thursday night, May the 14th, 2009. We are live from Leg Up Production Studios, Hobart, Indiana, about 30 minutes outside of downtown Chicago, Illinois. Emil Soda Popinski Kagomine on the right side of your screen. Mo, what is up with you?
Not much. We been talking a lot about fights that are coming up in June around this area. There's a real busy month for us. Basically every weekend, every Friday, Saturday, there's going to be fights.
Yeah, we're screwed.
And actually, in June, you're going to be going to the Hall of Fame as well. So
It is 21 days and counting until Wally World. Cannot wait for that.
yeah, it's
Lennox Lewis, Orlando Canazales, Larry Merchant, lots and lots of good guys. This is the kind of thing that we wish the entire team could reunite and be there for, but it might be a couple of years before all four of us get there on the same year. Everyone's having kids.
yeah, and possibly next year we'll be having another kid. So we'll have to see about next year as well. So.
See, I didn't even hear about this. He announces it to the world before he announces it to us. That's true? You guys are going to try?
Yeah, but, well, you have to wait. And when you're diabetic, you have to wait 2 years. So, well, that's what they advise you to do. So we took the advice of the doctor, which is always a good thought. And that 2 year point's coming up pretty soon. So
Yeah, he's got to be, what, year and 4 months, 5 months?
November. So
Okay. So you're marking the days till you can lie down next to your wife again? Timmy, the producer, Patterson over there at the controls. Timmy, how's your week been going?
It's been going great, man. Actually, we had a great last Saturday evening Bryce Fest, first annual Bryce Fest, raised somewhere between $7,000 and $8,000. They haven't come up with a total yet, but for a great cause, nice bowling event. Chris is now supporting the wrist brace. That's not for too much alone time at his house. That's actually for some bowling. So.
Oh, isn't that comedy?
It is comedy.
That was good stuff. Will the laughter ever start? Did you turn my mic off, stupid?
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do when I don't like you talking. I just shut your mic off.
This is already going to be an awesome show. Timmy, how can our listeners get in touch with us tonight?
Hit us up on the hotline, 219-743-9743. Yahoo Instant Messenger is up and running. Keyword Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, or the best way to reach us is in the chat room via Ustream.tv.
All right. Nestor Garza-Romero out on location tonight.
that means he's at home.
We got to talk. Awesome.
That's your secret code for at home.
Well, yeah, it's real secret. It's real secret when Jagoff just goes and announces it. We're going to have a special guest tonight, Ray Flores, formerly of All Things Sports Radio. Now he's big in the MMA world, so we'll be talking to him, especially with one of the biggest names in MMA, Kimbo Slice, actually talking about how he might want to turn over to the boxing ring. He already whooped up on a couple of boxers, whooped up on Merciless Ray Mercer in their fight in about 40 seconds or so. Choked him out. I mean, choke out a boxer. I don't know if you can really wave a flag, but he didn't outpunch him, so there you go. There you go.
Yeah, we'll have to see how his speed transfers. I mean, the guys that he's been fighting out in the yard.
Out in the yard, literally out in the yard.
I mean, those were a little bit better, a little bit closer to boxing matches more than MMA fights for the most part that he was fighting.
There was no MMA in those fights.
The one that he lost, he did lose a fight, though, with a cop or something. I think it was a cop.
He lost one of his backyard brawls to a cop.
Yeah. And that was more of an MMA fight style. They were actually...
Yeah, they were allowed to actually do some things. They still weren't allowed to do,
much groundwork.
No, you had to... And you had the count of 20. That's the one thing about Kimbo fights that are so stupid. If you get knocked down, you get 20 seconds, and then you get the illiterates, his thugs in harmony that are counting for him.
And they're like, get up, you ain't gonna get paid. It's hilarious
when they get up to like 12 and 13, and they like lose track. They're like 13, 14, what is it? 15. I mean. No sport should you get 20 seconds to do anything. If you can't get up within 10, then lay down. It's obvious. I mean, just move on. But whatever. This week we saw Dawson and Tarver, which we'll be talking about a little bit after our first break tonight. Dawson and Tarver 2, that is. And the big winner here is Glenn Johnson, because Glenn Johnson never needs to fight Antonio Tarver again, which that was snooze fest boxing when it happened anyway. And Chad Dawson is the big loser here. Even though he won the fight with Tarver, they flat out said, who is he going to fight? Who's he going to fight other than Glenn Johnson?
Because Hopkins doesn't want to fight him. He doesn't want to fight the young up-and-coming fighters, is what
Hopkins
said.
only wants to fight old fighters and Carl Froch. That's the one guy, and that's what weight is Carl Froch at? Super middle.
Yes.
He's super middle. So yeah, he wants. Hopkins does not want any. This computer's awesome, by the way. Beginning dump of physical memory. That can't be good. Timmy, we might need to we might need to start the whole show over, because this is very bad. But anyway, yeah. So the big loser, even though he won the fight against Tarver a second time, is Chad Dawson, because he really has no fights that anyone's going to pay any amount of money to go see unless he fights Glenn Johnson. And even fighting Glenn Johnson isn't going to be, it probably isn't going to make as much money as Dawson and Tarver did. And Dawson Tarver made about $68.
Yeah, well, if you look at I thought the fight was actually kind of boring. It wasn't a very exciting fight. That didn't help it much either. But I don't know. There's not very many big names at the light heavyweight division. I mean, a lot of the big names left that division and moved up
up to cruiser.
Yeah, and I mean Hopkins would be the other big name.
Dawson should go up to cruiser. That's what Dawson should do. He should go up to cruiser and go after the hottest cruiserweight there is right now, Thomas Adamek, who he already has a win over. Or
try to pull some of those guys that fought off the Contender.
Well, sure. I mean, yeah.
They latch
on to some. Felix Cora Jr. and there's a couple guys on there that have names at least.
Yeah, they were a little bit small, for cruiserweight.
Yeah.
If they could drop some pounds, they could come
little ding-a-ling.
I don't think Dingling, man. He couldn't even make cruiserweight. I don't think he's going to be able to slide down the light heavy.
No, I'm saying Dawson should move up.
Oh, cruiserweight? I don't know.
Dawson should move up. Well, what does it matter? I mean, he does not have it as bad. I mean, he has it much worse, rather, than Roy did. They said Roy had no one to fight. Roy had guys he could fight, and he was beating them. Dawson has nobody. There's no one in the light heavyweight division outside of our boy Tavoris Cloud. That's one fight he can make, but that's dangerous for Dawson.
And Tavoris hasn't quite made the name that he needs to make to get big dollars. I mean,
get him in the ring with Chad Dawson. He might surprise the world and be the name in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take someone like that. He's gonna end up having to fight a mandatory because there's no big names that are gonna be a chance to take his belt. And when he fights that mandatory, that might be the guy that pulls it out and gives a good showing, and then they will have somebody for him to fight.
Yeah. So that is that. Let's go ahead and take our break. We'll come right back with all the fights that got us through the week. I'm sorry this isn't a terribly exciting show tonight. I don't know. Emil and I have been drinking pretty heavily. Right
there wasn't much news this week in boxing.
No, there definitely isn't all that much. So we're going to be stretching. This portion of a Bolo Punch brought to you by Fat Tire and by Rogue Dead Guy Ale. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. This is your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour brought to you by George Rogie Insurance. www.bolopunchboxinghour.com. Streaming to you live as always on Ustream.tv.
Rogie Insurance is a 4-generation insurance family serving Indiana families